we change as people.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was when I didn't have a child. I'm not the same person I was when my son was newborn, and I'm definitely not the same person I was when he was 2.
Yeah.
You know, we grow in ourselves and we allow ourselves to change, and we change the foods we like to eat, the restaurants we choose to go to, the actors that we have crushes on. You know, why can't we change something like a podcast title?
Yeah, we're not static. We get to grow. It's like it's such a gift that we get to continue to improve and shift and transform and become a new, better version of ourselves constantly. And it's like we get to look back on our year and look at how far we've come, and it's amazing. And then we get to look ahead and be like, how much further do I get to go? And we look at our goals, and it's easy to look at our goals and be like, oh, I'm not where I want to be. But instead we could look at look how much further we can look at them with excitement instead and be like, yay, there's a whole new version of me just waiting to blossom, right?
Yeah, I see it also as a privilege to change and to grow.
Join me, 'cause I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, oh, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine, I'm seeking sunshine. Welcome to Seeking Sunshine, Do What Lights You Up, a podcast for passionate, creative moms who are ready to live their best life and be their full, lit-up selves while being amazing moms, because it's possible to be both. It turns out that you don't have to lose yourself in motherhood, and I'm here to show you how. This is Seeking Sunshine 2.0 because we are no longer focusing on the problems, but on the solutions. It's your turn to shine. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for coming and listening. I hope that you are having such a beautiful season and that you are getting everything ready because Christmas is coming really soon. We're on the last few days of the countdown, aren't we? There's just a few more days, and I can tell you that I, for one, am racing to get everything ready so that we can have such a magical, amazing Christmas day. So hopefully you are, I don't know, maybe not like me and doing everything at the last minute. Hopefully you have everything ready to go. I'm super excited for this beautiful time of year. I love giving gifts, and I'm trying to get better at receiving and, just living in appreciation and that beauty. And hopefully that's something that we can all just sit in peace and appreciation and love. And there's so much beauty around us, and I hope that we can all just take a moment and love our lives because there is so much to be grateful for. Now, today we have such an amazing guest, and I just adore conversations like this that are really organic and natural, and just these are my favorite kind of episodes of really that are moms talking and having a good time, where we have so much inspiration and beauty. But before we hop into that, I have to tell you about this amazing thing that I kind of stumbled upon. I was looking for a way out of my kind of Mountain Dew struggle. I'm kind of obsessed with Mountain Dew, and it's really bad for me. And so I've been looking for a way to not be stuck back on the Mountain Dew train. And I found this incredible product called Magic Mind. And it's the world's first productivity drink. So it's not caffeinated. but it's like this shot that you take every morning, and it's got neurotropics and adaptogens, and it's like got really high quality ingredients, so like not the garbage that's in Mountain Dew. But it helps you to be less stressed and have more energy. And I have found that it's helped me so much as I'm prepping for the holidays and trying to get so much done in such a short amount of time. And what's more is like, this is the time of year when I always get sick, right? As I'm trying to fill my plate with so many things, and my kids are at 3 different schools, and it's just that time of year, right? Where we always get sick, but I'm not getting sick. Isn't that amazing? This has vitamin C and vitamin D, and it's been boosting my immunity, and I'm not getting sick, and I love it. It's so great. It boosts my energy and my focus, and oh my gosh, my creativity. I'm writing 2 songs at once right now, you guys, and I'm feeling so good. Like, these are such good songs. I'm really excited for them, but it helps boost your focus and your motivation. It's so good. I super recommend it. If you like me, have struggled with the really common, like, not good things for you, like the coffee, the Diet Coke, the Mountain Dew, those kind of like, you know, really easy to come by things that are like quick grabs, and you're looking for something healthier that's got, you know, high quality ingredients that aren't going to leave you like crashing later on, I totally recommend trying Magic Mind. I've got the link to go snag it. You can actually get a discount on it. It's in the show notes, so go check it out. Give it a shot. Literally, it's a shot. Oh, and by the way, this isn't one of those like I've tried neurotropics before, guys, and they were nasty, and I couldn't stand them. This tastes so good that I wish that it was like a full on like drink. Like, I could drink a gallon of this, is how good it tastes. This is not one of those like shots that I have to chase down with something else. It tastes so good that I'm like savoring the flavor of it like for hours. Like I'm like wanting that taste in my mouth. So anyways, I totally recommend Magic Mind. Oh, and by the way, they're going to be in, I think it's Sprouts in January. So go try it right now. Go buy it for the discount code on their website. But like, it's good stuff. Totally recommend. So anyways, moving on to today's amazing guest, Alison Fraser. She's from New Zealand, so she has the coolest accent ever. And she's a mom, and she's not just a podcaster, you guys. She has 2 podcasts like me. She's actually the person who showed me that like you can have 2 podcasts. Like, that's a real thing that you can do. That like you can just do what you want, and it's okay. So she has 2 podcasts, and she's the coolest person ever. She's a journalist, a communications professional, and a podcaster, and she helps other podcasters make their show what they want it to be. She's a park runner and a quizzer, and she lives in New Zealand, and she's a mom of 1. And in this conversation, we're going to talk about shining too brightly, which is kind of always a concern of mine, being, you know, that I'm really outgoing and really, you know, sunshiny and peppy. And we talk about showing up comfortably as you are, finding balance in motherhood. And of course, we have some really fun, just organic, real mom talk, which I think is really fun to listen to. And just like, it makes you feel like you're just sitting there talking to your best friend, which is what podcasting's all about. Like, it's about real conversations with real people. So this is like a very, very real conversation. So I'm going to stop yammering on. I mean, I love to talk, which is why I have 2 podcasts. But here we are. Welcome, Alison. It was so much fun to talk to you, and I'm so glad everyone gets to now listen to our conversation. Okay, before we dive into this episode, I have to mention, because this is super important, guys, we're about to hit 100 episodes. Oh my gosh, this is episode 98. Episode 99 is going to drop on Friday. It's going to be a really, really fun little short mini episode. And then we're going to have an extra special, like really, really amazing 100th celebration episode, and it's gonna drop on Christmas Day. Now, I fully expect that you are not going to listen on Christmas Day and that you are going to be celebrating with your family. Like, legit, like, be there, be present, enjoy your family. But know that there is a super amazing, super completely inspirational episode waiting for you, okay, to come back to. It's going to drop Christmas morning, and it is going to be the best of the best of the best of everything from the last 100 episodes of the Seeking Sunshine podcast. And I'm so excited for it. So now on to our episode. Hi, Alison. I'm so excited to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on, Karaleigh.
Well, absolutely. I'm so excited to chat with you and talk all things motherhood and doing what lights you up and podcasting and all the fun stuff.
There's so much to talk about. I'm not sure if we've got enough time.
I know we never do. I feel like every time I hop on with another mom, I'm like, we could just talk for hours and hours and hours. We all just need to get together and hang out more.
Totally. Yeah.
Because that's one of the big things about motherhood is it always feels really isolating.
And then when you do get together, you end up just talking about your kids.
Yeah.
Which is like, no, there's more to me than my child. I am a human being myself.
It's really true. It's really true. I get really caught up of like, how do I be the best mom? How do I do all the right things? And then it's like, wait, I'm a person. I have other goals and dreams and aspirations. And it's like, oh, I have to remember those too.
But I always also find that when I am with other mums and you are talking about the things you do, then I think I want to tell them like all the stuff I'm doing, but then I hold back because I know that they don't have those same opportunities, and I don't want to come across as being like one of those boastful mums. You know, like the mums you've got is like, well, my son's already walking and talking and he's only 6 months old, you know, like that kind of mum. But I don't want to be like that about myself and bragging about all the things that I still get to do, even though I do look after a human.
It's such a huge, I was just listening to this and it's been a huge theme lately in my life. I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Several times.
Good. Totally recommend it to anyone who's not read it. But one of the big premise in that book is that we all have this upper limit problem that keeps us from reaching our highest potential because we stop ourselves. And for me, one of the 4 big problems that keeps us from doing that, that really hit me was that I don't want to outshine other people. And so I stopped shining. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. And I was listening to somebody do a live this morning on just this exact topic. It's like we don't want to, we stop ourselves from shining because we don't want to hurt other people's feelings. We don't want to make them feel less than. So we don't let our full light shine. So I love this topic. We couldn't totally dive right in here.
Well, the way I see that is if you don't tell, so for example, yeah, I've got a podcast, I've published a book, and I do heaps of other things. But
and you have a second one coming out soon, right?
I have a second one, yeah. But when I drop these little nuggets, I feel that it then gives that other person just that spark to investigate something in themselves that will make them feel just as good. And it doesn't have to be what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It can be something else that they have thought about doing but have always pushed to the side, you know, for the sake of the children, or I have to be a good wife and a good mother.
Yeah.
But there's nothing stopping you from learning a musical instrument, writing a book, going to the theater once in a while.
Absolutely. I'm obsessed with this topic because I like my favorite thing. I love doing my hair and makeup. And it was like, okay, I've got 3 kids with special needs, but yet I want to show up looking amazing every day because that's what makes me feel really good. And I'd be like in the hospital giving birth and I'd be like, yep, I totally did my makeup this morning. And there was like, it's like I'm not the one who shows up to car pickup in sweats and, you know, looking like I just rolled out of bed. That's just not me. And I have absolutely like
I love everyone who does, right? Like I have like no shame at all to anyone who is rocking the PJ look. Like go for it, live your best life. But and I have actually often felt a lot of shame around like I'm here in my glam and my glitter, like just being me and showing up as myself. And I've had to take some deep breaths to like step into that and be like, it's okay to just be who I want to be when no one else is like that. It's it's been hard for me.
But sometimes you have to do something for yourself to
Yeah.
make yourself feel good. And if it is doing your hair and makeup, then kudos to you. I suck at doing makeup. I I think I buy makeup and then you know how you're supposed to use it up within a certain amount of time. Well, I use it like a couple of times and then it gets put in the drawer and forgotten about and I just never bother, even when I'm going out. Like I brush my hair. I mean, I might tie it up, but generally this is me. A bit of lip gloss, maybe. But I do like to wear clothes that make me feel good. So even
Yeah.
if I've been working from home, I don't just go around in my sweats. It's like, no, I'm going to put on my dress or I'm going to
Yeah.
put on, I'm in my space dungarees because they make me feel like a kid. And I have worn
Awesome.
these, I've worn these to work and they're like, you should come and work in the children's unit. I'm in a hospital, so it's
Yeah.
my day job.
That's so fun. I love it. Wear what makes you happy. Like I have my whole speech about like I wanted to be a princess my whole life and like wear glitter and tiaras and fancy dresses. And so I'm like, that's who I am and that's who I want to be as an adult. Like I want to wear glitter. I want to wear pretty dresses. And so like dressing up's my favorite. So whenever I have an opportunity to like go full glam, like you better believe I'm rocking it. And it's taken me so long to push past the embarrassment of just owning who I am. And if you're gonna rock out in the space jumper, like just do it. Like we gotta own who we are and
Mm.
love ourselves for it and stop caring so much about what other people think.
And I think when you do that, you're also giving that someone else that, again, the permission to do what makes them feel happy rather than
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to be the one that's overdressed and everyone's just talking about me because of what I'm wearing. I want to be the person who's wearing something that makes me feel good. And other people will be asking me, where did I get this? Because I want that too. And then you see them wearing the sparkly tights or the sparkly boots or the
Yeah.
amazing dress.
Well,
Yeah.
and we're giving permission to our kids to be their full selves and to other moms to be their full selves. It's like, that quote from Marianne Williamson, when you let your light shine, you give other people, unconscious permission to let their own light shine in
Mm.
whatever way. And then when like let's think about like who we actually are, who we show up as when we're comfortable. Like
Yeah.
who you are in the pointy high heels that make you want to scream is a different person than who you are when you feel comfortable. It's we want to be the person who's calm and happy and like just so in love with life. Like that's who we want to show up to the rest of the world as, not the one who's like uptight and cranky and like not right. Like we don't want to show up like that, and we want our kids to know that it's okay to show up that way too.
Going on the topic of like wearing heels, I don't actually wear heels. I don't own, actually, I do still own a pair, but they're in my mum's house in my cupboard in my old bedroom. The shoes I wore for my sister's wedding. And she got married in this church, a beautiful cathedral in the UK, and it's got the longest aisle of any church in the country. And you're in heels. It's
Oh
like, for
man.
goodness sakes, like not only do I have to get used to wearing heels, but I have to walk this really long aisle. And I could not wait for the photos outside. We did the photos, shoes off
Yep.
before we
Well,
even
and
got in the cars.
for as girly as I am, like heels suck. I don't want to wear heels. Like my church Sunday shoes, they're like flats. They're like raised. I mean, they're not flat, but they're like raised. What are they called? I don't even know what they're called, but they're
Wedges.
not. Yeah, they're like wedges. They're like not, they're like, and I wear them for church and then they come off like literally. And it's so funny because I'm like, I'm so girly. I love dressing up. I love wearing dresses. And I go to church in my big dress and I look so cute. And I come right home and put on my sweatpants. Like, you better believe I come home and like all the jewelry comes off and like I show up for choir in sweatpants and a t-shirt. Like it's it's a thing.
The two sides of Karaleigh.
Right? I'm like, I'm all for the sweatpants and the comfy shirt, but I also love the bling and the glitter.
Have
So
you seen the Barbie film?
I love it so
Yeah, me
much.
too.
Yeah.
And when is it Ugly Barbie's showing the two
Yeah.
shoes and she has
Yeah.
to choose the shoes? I'm like, Birkenstocks all the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's like, you have to choose. And she's like, no, I just want my we're like, wait a minute. That's like the best part of the movie. Like, we have to choose something new. No, I just want to stay in the comfortable old part of life. If you haven't seen that movie, totally recommend it. It's the greatest. So tell us about the things that light you up as a mom and what the balance has looked like. I know balance is a joke, but like what it has looked like trying to do the things you love and be a mom at the same time.
Well, as I was telling you before we hit record, I feel like I've barely seen my son this week because I've been doing all the things. But I know that I'll get the balance right next week. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not scarring him for life.
It's
I'm
more
showing
like a
him that,
teeter-totter,
yeah,
right?
I'm
It's
showing
never
him
like a
that,
perfect thing. It's like we
no,
just go back and forth.
yeah, it's like your mum does a few things that do take her away from home every now and then, but we'll spend some solid time together on the weekend. So what lights me up? Well, where do I start? I was always a runner before my son was born. So I actually did triathlon before he was born,
Cool.
and it was really hard to fit in the swimming and the cycling with a kid, so just ended up doing the running. So I started off with doing the runs, like running while my husband was at home and early in the morning, so didn't really interrupt everyone's routine.
Yeah.
Then I started going to pub quiz like one night a week, which is I don't know, the concept of pub quiz I found with people in the Americas is quite bizarre. So for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's a quiz night with lots of different rounds on different topics in a pub. So a bar,
Awesome.
I guess, in the
So like
States.
a trivia night, sort of.
Trivia night, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, so I have a team and it's really good fun. So I do that once a week. Um, on the weekend just gone, I had a weekend in Auckland, which is the city, it's about 3 hours drive from home. I went up on the Friday, stayed with a friend, and we did this event called Park Run, which is a huge part of my life. There in the US, it's a free weekly timed 5 kilometer run or walk.
Wow.
And if you've got one near you, I would recommend this to every single mum because you can do it with your kids, or you can leave your kids at home with dad and go and do it yourself, like by yourself with your mum friends, or get this, you can do it with people who aren't even like in the same stage of life as you. So you can get, have all this other interaction and other things to light you up. So yeah, the
That's
conversation is
awesome.
not about children. It's usually about the run or where you're going to run next week or
That's
what you're going to have in the
so
cafe.
cool.
Yeah. So I did that. And then I went to the National Pub Quiz Championships. So the company that runs the trivia night we go to do a national event. And so I did that on the Saturday night. So I had it's like a 36 hours. Actually, it was probably even longer than that because I saw my husband and son on the Friday morning before I left for work. And then I didn't see them again till Sunday.
That's so fun though.
But they knew I was having fun and I knew they were having fun. So that was good. So that lights me up. What else lights me up? Oh, I'm learning a musical instrument.
Cool. Which one?
I'm learning the bagpipes.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
And this is actually, it's kind of something I'm doing with my son Axel. Axel is learning the snare drum, which is the side drum that you see in pipe bands. And so I would take him to his lesson, and I kind of got browbeaten to start learning myself. But it's really good
Awesome.
fun. So we
Awesome.
go at the
And
same time. We drive
tell
there
us how
together.
old he is, because I don't think you told us on the
He's 11
podcast
and a
yet.
half.
He's 11 and a half. So he's just the
Yeah.
right age to be learning that right alongside you.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah. So yeah, learning, that's a new thing this year. So that lights me up.
That's
My
so cool to be able to
podcast.
share your passion
Yeah.
like with your son.
I think he's less passionate about it than I am, but he is 11 and he would rather just stay at home and play video games.
Yeah,
But I
that
know
sounds
he'll
about right
thank
for
me for
11.
it. Yeah, yeah. He's got to do something, but he does scouts as well. So it's not like he does just stay at home.
He just wishes he
He'll,
was.
yeah, yeah. He'll thank
Yeah.
us when he's older.
Yeah. Yeah, they learn so much in Scouts. Scouts is so fun.
Yeah. I mean, he complains, oh, I don't want to go to scouts tonight. And it's like, just go, you'll have fun.
Yeah. Do they get to do campouts and all the fun stuff?
Yeah, so this last week they did this thing called Capture the Flag, where they went to a farm just outside of the city where we live and met up with another scout troop and did some activity on a farm, and they got muddy and it was lots of fun, apparently.
Yeah. So good for them.
Yeah.
Be outside and running around and exercise.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I see it. Like he's getting exercise without realizing he's getting exercise.
Yeah. Yeah. Cooperation, all those good.
Yeah. And he
Important
comes to
skills.
parkrun with me now. It used to just be my thing, but now he comes along and he volunteers, and then we go to the cafe and he like basically empties my bank account.
Yeah, the food is like a thing. Yeah.
I spend so much, and he's always hungry for more. Like, what is it with 11-year-old boys?
Yeah, mine are what, 13, 12, and 9, and I'm like, it's like we went to gymnastics, and my 9-year-old was like, well, obviously we're buying soda and candy here at gymnastics, and I was like, no, we're here for exercise. We're not undoing all like exercise by eating a bunch of candy and soda. And I'm sitting here like cursing the people who like put the soda and candy machines in the gymnastics place, and it was a whole thing. And I'm like, why? So yeah, I get it. It's a whole thing. Like the food, that whole like, so it's always about the food. And I'm like,
Yeah.
life is about more than food, guys. Like,
We'll go into the cafe and he'll be like, I want that, that, and that, and that. And it'll be like, okay, you can have just the one thing. And if you're still hungry, maybe we'll come back for something else.
yeah, bottomless pits
And
they are.
yeah, but usually we just settle at the one thing. We get this thing, so the cafe we go to at our home park run is a Swiss artisan cafe. And
Ooh.
it's really cool. Lots of pastries and bread. One of the things they make is called a long dog. So it's a hot dog, essentially, a continental sausage. And it's about, I'd say it's long, about a foot and a half, maybe, or maybe it's a foot. Anyway, it's pretty long. In a really nice, is it ficelle is the bread. So almost like a baguette, but it's
that's
not
so
quite so
cool.
baguette.
That's totally something kids would love.
Yeah, with like mustard and a barbecue sauce. And a short dog is enough for me to eat. And it's enough for him to eat. So we get one long dog and we cut it in half. And that, like one time he did order the long, like he said, I want the long dog. I want to try it for myself, see if I can eat it all. Well, that was the day when he had a wobbly tooth.
Oh my goodness, did he lose?
He had two bites, and he's like, I'm gonna eat the rest later. That tooth was wobbly for like 2 weeks. I'm not joking. He would not wiggle it to.
So he's the kind who like will not pull the tooth out?
No, he just leaves it.
That's so
Let
funny.
it come out by itself.
I have two of those who are like, it's loose, no, don't touch it. But one of mine, cannot stand having a loose tooth. And the moment, like, we're sitting here going, are you sure it's loose? I don't think it's loose. And he's like, tear it out of my face. And we're like, like, I've been to the dentist and been like, is it really loose? Because and he's my severely autistic one. And he's like, pull it out, tear it out of my head. And we're like, is it really loose? Yeah. Like, I've been asking the dentist, like, is he going to ask us to tear one out that's like not loose? And the dentist is assuring us that it's fine. And he's only going to ask us to pull out ones that are really like supposed to come out. And I've been really worried that he's going to be like, rip this tooth out of my head that's not loose.
It is a sensory thing though.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I can fully imagine him wanting to have that taken out.
Yeah. He
I just cannot stand it. Like, oh, Mom, look at my tooth. And he's like, like he kind of almost flips it.
Yeah.
It was just like so gross.
They're hanging on by a thread.
Do not look at me. Yeah. Do not come anywhere near me. I do not want to look at that. When it's out of your mouth and you're holding the tooth in your hand, then I will look at it.
And then there's that big gaping bloody hole and you're like, nope, still don't want to look. Ew.
His first tooth that ever came out was during a school holiday program. So I wasn't even there.
Fun.
He was at a school holiday program at the gymnastics center at the time, and he was eating a banana. And he was so mortified because, he didn't know what to expect. And apparently they spent quite some time having to comfort him.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. But now we keep all the teeth at home. It's so disgusting. But again, 11-year-old boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people make like necklaces out of them and like do things, and it's like, no, thanks.
That just makes me want to spew.
Yeah, that's so gross. And you're like,
why would you do that?
I don't know. People do things sometimes, and you're like, all right, you just do you over there. You just do your thing.
Yeah, just keep it in a box.
Do your thing. Just do it over there. Just keep it away from me. It's official. Podcast Like a Mother is here. This is my podcast coaching program where I lead you one-to-one through the entire process of building your own podcast. I will guide you every single step of the way as you figure out what topic you want to talk about, what lights you up, and how to do the entire process beginning to end. I'm going to show you every single thing that I know, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to show you how to make podcasting fun and easy and sustainable. If you want to schedule a breakthrough call with me to see if this is the right next step for you, check out the link in the show notes. So, tell us about your podcast.
Which one?
Both of them.
I have two.
Both of them. When does the second one launch? It's coming soon, right?
It launches on St. Andrew's Day, which is November the 30th. And
I chose
that day. Yeah, I chose that day because this one's called Scottish at Heart, and it's a podcast. I've had a variation of an idea for this one for over a year, and I've like planned it out, but I've never actually recorded it until now. So originally I was going to do this podcast, Rebus and Riki. Like Rebus is this character in these books that I really love. Detective Rebus. Ian Rankin is the author. They're set in Edinburgh. The nickname for Edinburgh is Old Riki, all to do with the chimneys and things. And I was going to do this podcast about Edinburgh and this detective and all the places and people of Edinburgh, but I just couldn't quite work it out in my head. And then I was going to do a women in bagpiping podcast, and I thought, well, that's probably not going to be enough for like, yeah, I might still do that, or I might do it as a season in this podcast. And I was going to do one like just little pieces of Scotland. Again, I just had no idea. This is Scottish at heart because I have a Scottish name. Like the name I use in my podcasting is my maiden name, which is Fraser, as in Jamie Fraser from Outlander. Just saying, I had the name first. My dad was Scottish. I love Scottish food and drink. Like Iron Brew is the best soft drink ever. I'm learning the Gaelic language. I'm learning the bagpipes. That's a new thing this year. I've been doing my family
Awesome.
history. I love Outlander. I mean, it all came together, and it's like, I'm just going to celebrate Scotland and being Scottish at heart. So it's for people who feel connected to Scotland in one way or another, whether they are from there, whether their ancestors are from there, whether they've chosen to live there, or if they just like listening to Scottish accents like I do.
That's awesome. I think I have a little bit of Scottish heritage myself, so that's
You
so
must do.
fun.
You've got the hair. You've got the
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah, I think I do. Well, and I think my heritage is spread out a little bit everywhere.
Yeah. So they
And then
call
I
that
got,
the Scottish. So they
yeah,
call that the Scottish diaspora. So
yeah.
diaspora is the Scots who've just spread across the world.
Yep, it's super fun. And then your other podcast I got to be on, which was so awesome. And
You
now it's
did.
about podcasting, which is one of my favorite topics.
Yeah, it's women who podcast. So women who podcast. I want to use this podcast as a platform for those women who have got over the tech issues, and got over that confidence issue, and are using their voice to help other people, other women. And I want to encourage more women to use their voice for something good. Like, we've all got
Love
something to
it.
say. We've
Yeah.
all got something. If you're ever one of those kids who was told off for being, talking too much in class, you should have a podcast. Honestly, like, if you have something to say, and we all do, then it's the perfect platform, because you can be you. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. And it doesn't matter what the other mums at your school think of you. They're not going to be the ones who listen. You'll find your people out there in the podcast world.
Yep. I love it. So how long has that podcast been going?
I started that one in January of this year, 23, but I called it something different. It was about getting publicity, helping women in business get publicity for themselves. Again, like, giving them the tools and the tips that they are worthy enough of being in newspapers and radio and TV. Because my background is in journalism. I knew when I was 11 that I wanted to be a journalist. I've worked in newspapers. I did a degree in broadcast journalism, and yeah, I work in communications now, so it's a similar kind of thing, getting someone's message out to the world. So I started off as that, but I found I was talking to a lot of podcasters about the kind of guests that they would have on. And then I thought, why don't I just do a podcast about podcasters and help them with their podcast by, like, giving them a platform for guests to go onto their show, and also to find new podcasts to listen to, because
Love it.
there's so many out there, and some people can just get stuck on listening to the same one or two until someone tells them, you should go and listen to Seeking Sunshine, because this is what you need, like, every week to lift you up.
I love it. And podcasting is so fun because like you get to really know yourself. Like and I see that with your show too. It's like as you go on and talk week after week after week, you like really get to hone in on what do you want to talk about? What is it you could actually get on and talk to people about that much? What is it that really lights you up? What is it that you really, really want to share with people that is really so important? And you just grow so much from sharing that over and over and over again. Like you just blossom the more that you do it. And so like we see that with your show, and that's what happened with my show. And it's so great. I love podcasting.
It is cool. And what I love about it is I have changed my podcast over the course of the year, and it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
because we change as people. I'm
Yeah.
not the same person I was when I didn't have a child. I'm not the same person I was when my son was newborn, and I'm definitely not the same person I was when he was 2.
Yeah.
We grow in ourselves, and we allow ourselves to change, and we change the foods we like to eat, the restaurants we choose to go to, the actors that we have crushes on. Why can't we change something like a podcast title?
Yeah, we're not static. We get to grow. It's like it's such a gift that we get to continue to improve and shift and transform and become a new, better version of ourselves
Mm.
constantly. And it's like we get to look back on our year and look at how far we've come, and it's amazing. And then we get to look ahead and be like, how much further do I get to go? And we look at our goals, and it's easy to look at our goals and be like, oh, I'm not where I want to be. But instead we could look at like, look how much further we can look at them with excitement instead and be like, yay, there's a whole new version of me just waiting to like blossom, right?
Yeah, I see it also as a privilege to change and to grow, because there are people that would love to be in our shoes but don't have that privilege of
Yeah.
aging. Not
Yeah.
everyone gets to. I mean, I'm 47. I know there are plenty of women out there who don't get to live to this age. I have privilege of I have access to technology. I live in a free country. I mean, that is a privilege in itself. Like,
Yeah.
I have been educated. I've got to go to school. I get to work if I choose to. I don't have to stay at home and, you know, get stoned because I have these ideas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's I have this privilege and I should use this for good. And if I
Yeah.
can and if I can do that through my podcast and inspire someone else to start podcasting themselves on a topic that is, I don't know, even more controversial, but is also going to be inspiring to other people, then I think it's a waste otherwise. What am I
Yeah.
going to do with my life? I shouldn't just be, yeah, I shouldn't waste it. I should use what I've got.
Yeah. Let's light up the world. It starts with us being lit up first, and like,
Yeah.
what is it that we really love that we can then light up the people around us, and then one by one we just light up the world. I love it. So how has
Yeah.
it been being a podcaster and a mom? How has that looked? I mean, your son's a little older, so he probably is pretty well behaved, but
He is mostly. I did an interview, God, I think it was either this week or last week. The weeks all just blur because I do most of my recording. I record mostly on a Monday morning, between 6 a.m. and 7:30. So I do it before work. And sometimes I come into my office to do it like I am right now, because the time we're talking is when he's up and noisy. So he's getting
yeah,
ready for school. But I did an interview at home. I thought, oh yeah, 6 to 6:30. It will be nice and quiet-ish. And I'd finished the recording and we were just doing the chat afterwards. And my door kind of slightly open, because I had the door slightly open just because the cat likes to come in and out, and I'd rather her do that silently than scratch at the door. And I just look over my shoulder and I can see this head like peeking around, like he's on his hands and knees.
oh no,
And he's just like looking up. But he loves the idea that his mum has a podcast, and I've been contributing to another podcast for 2 or 3 years. It's one about parkrun, which we talked about earlier. I go to other parkrun events and I talk to people there, and I submit them to this podcast that's called Parkrun Adventures. And
awesome.
we'll play it in the car sometimes, and then he'll be like, oh, that's you, mum.
Oh,
And they would just
awesome.
listen. And then he'd be like, you're on a podcast. Like he sees that as you're on the radio, you're on the TV, you're on the big screen. It's like, my mum is doing something that other people hear. That's cool. My
I
mum is
love
having an
it.
impact on people. So before, when I was working in the newspaper, he thought it was awesome that my name was in the newspaper. It's like, well, that's just,
Yeah.
just tells people who read the story. But he doesn't want to be,
Yeah.
he wants to be a YouTuber, he says, but he also wants to be an architect. So I'm not too sure how that's going to go.
It's so important for our kids to see us, doing these things and living our dreams, because it shows them what's possible. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, you can actually do amazing things too. It's like
Yeah.
you can live your dreams. You can do incredible things with your life, and like anything is possible. And it doesn't matter like how tough your circumstances are, anything's possible. And like for them to have that example so close to home, and especially because like we are so similar usually genetically to our kids. It's like whatever they're struggling with is usually something that we have struggled with too. So for them to know that like, oh, my parent who is so much like me is able to do all these things, like, whoa, that's a huge deal for them to have an example that is just like them. That's the kind of impact that like literally only you can have. Like that's why it is so important that you go and do these things that light you up, and that you pursue your dreams, so that you show them that living your dreams is something you get to do in life.
And I think another thing with that though is also if you have those hard days at work, or if
Yeah.
you're having a hard day in general, you can admit that the day is hard,
Yeah.
but I try to always put another spin on it. I don't try to make, polish a turd and all that,
Yeah.
I don't try to, forget that the day was hard and oh, this amazing thing happened, or, it's like, yeah, my day was hard, but not every day is hard. And I got through it and I had this challenge and I overcame the challenge, and I get to go to work again tomorrow,
Yep.
and I know that it's going to be better because of
Yep.
what has happened today.
Yep. These challenges are overcomeable, and then what is it, as Marie Forleo says, everything's figure outable. Like we can do hard things, we can persevere, we can figure it out, we can keep going even when challenges come our way, because we are strong and we are powerful, and so are they. And they know that they are because they see us walking that path first.
Yeah, I think that whole everything's figure outable. I always try to say to it, like I can't even think about what struggle. Oh, for example, he lost a pair of gloves at school. Like he bikes to school, and he was wearing gloves, and he'd taken them off to play on the swings, and he'd forgotten about them. And it was the next morning when he realized, I don't have my gloves. It's cold riding my bike, because it's that, those spring mornings where it's still just there's a bit of a nip in the air. And he's like, I've lost your gloves, Mum, because they were my ones from my cycling days from many, many years ago. I'm like, oh, we'll figure it out. Like, we'll contact the school and maybe someone's handed them in. But if they're lost for good, then someone else is using the gloves. They'll have warm hands. We can always get another pair of gloves.
Yeah.
Like it's not the end of the world. I get that you're upset, and it's okay to be upset, but it's figure outable.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I emailed the school, and a couple of days later, the gloves got handed in. So everyone
Awesome.
wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think involving them in the solution as well
So
it's
important.
helping them to grow, because they get to see how you figure things out, and then they can apply that same thinking to themselves in a completely different situations. Like, oh, I need to do this, this, and this. How am I going to do it? Well, when I saw my mum with a similar challenge, this is what she did, or this is what my dad
Yes.
did. Maybe I could do something like that, but there's something that would work in this situation.
Oh, yes. Did mom blow up? Did mom get really upset? Was mom able to regulate her emotions? Oh, that's why it's so, so important for us to be able to regulate our own emotions first. Like, and it's like we tend to think that it's really selfish to like focus on ourselves first, but it's like you have to maintain your own like self so that you can respond better to the rest of the world. Like you have to recognize where you're at so that you can teach your kids by example how to regulate, how to like care for your emotional status and your mental well-being, because if you don't first regulate that, then you're going to just respond, without thinking, and then it's going to be a blow up, and not going to be the example you want to set. And a lot of us have done that a lot of times. And it's the part of life, right? And we just improve and we get better. And it's like, we got to help them by helping ourselves first
Yeah.
to be
It's,
better at it
it's
first.
still so hard.
It is so hard. It's so hard. This has been amazing. So amazing. So let's see. Tell me the names of your two podcasts again.
Women Who Podcast and Scottish at Heart.
Awesome. And Scottish at Heart comes out November 30th. Is that right?
It is, yeah. Every Thursday.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so excited to hear that. And then are they both just going to be everywhere?
Yeah, anywhere you get your podcasts. I tend to
Awesome.
use the podcast app on my iPhone,
Oh, I love it.
but it's on Spotify, Amazon. Who knew Amazon did podcasts? I didn't until I was getting my podcast all uploaded.
Yeah, Amazon does like everything these days. I was wondering if you have any like tips from all your journalism days and podcasting guru days of like helping moms get seen and get their podcasts visible and get their stuff going.
I think being a guest is a great way of getting your voice further, to reach other audiences like we're doing now. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll hear there might be people that you like to listen to, like Marie Forleo, for example. You'll see that she's on lots of other podcasts, so you can do the same. And one thing that I can recommend to people to do is, if you have a topic that you speak on a lot, can you name a topic off the top of your head? Because my mind's just gone blank.
I really love to talk about energy and about how doing what lights you up kind of expands your time and helps you have more energy to do the things that you don't love.
So if you could narrow that down to like a couple of 2 or 3 words, you can put that into your podcast app and find podcasts that have that in their episode titles. Or if there's someone else who is like you but not you, who speaks on a similar topic, but of course you have your own lens on it, so you're never going to be exactly the same. Like, I listen to a money podcast by Denise Duffield Thomas. She is about money mindset. She is very different to Amanda Francis, who is also a money mindset person. But you can put like the name of someone into the podcast app and see what podcasts they have been on, and be like, oh, well, if that podcast had that person on to talk about that topic, it doesn't mean that topic is then done and they'll never do that same thing again. Chances are it's something that their audience is interested in. So there's no reason why you can't also approach that podcaster and say, are you
love
accepting guests?
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's super
It's more
helpful.
proof of concept than, they've already covered that, therefore it's off limits.
Yeah, we tend to get really caught up in competition when it's really more about collaboration and this whole proof of concept thing. Like, it's just because it's been done, that doesn't mean it's over and you can't get there. That actually means that they want it. They love it. They want more of it. And when you think about that, it's like when you read a book on a topic, you tend to read more books on that topic. When you listen to a podcast on a topic, you're not like, oh, well, I'm done with that. I learned everything I ever needed to know from that one thing. No, you listen to more. You're like, I want more of this. I want.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's like there's more than one coffee shop in town. There's more than one brand of ice cream in the freezer at the supermarket. There's
Yeah.
more than one movie about romances or science fiction. Just because one has already been done doesn't mean that many others can't do their own thing on the same theme
Yeah. And
and
you have your
also
own
be successful.
story.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
one has
And
got your voice.
yeah, you're your own unique, person, and you have your own way of talking about it. And so that is valuable. Like, you
Mm.
are valuable because you are unique, and we can't forget that. Like, it's so easy to forget that and be like, no, it's been done. I don't have anything new to say. And it's like, we forget the value in like hearing things over and over again. Like, how many times can you hear that like you're amazing and you have so much to give the world? Like, we can't hear that enough times. We need to hear that over and over again just in one day. Because
And
we never.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes you hear a lesson from someone and it just goes to the back of your mind, but then you might hear it the same lesson but spoken in a different way from someone else, and that resonates with you. But someone's telling you the exact same thing that you've already heard, but it's just the way that it's been said, or the examples that they've given, or even you maybe just gelling with that person from all the other things that they've talked about first.
Yeah, it's so true. Love it.
There's room
So
for us all.
I love it. I love it. So how else can we find you on the interwebs?
On the interwebs, well, I foolishly have got 2 Instagrams, one for each of my podcasts, but go to the Women Who Podcast, because that's where I show up mostly. I have my website, alisonfraser.co. That's Fraser spelled as in Jamie Fraser, Fraser .co, and there's all my things on my website there.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited that we get to go follow you and learn more from you and go find out about all these Women Who podcast, because there's so many more amazing people to hear from. And this has been a joy. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, I just loved talking to Alison. I had so much fun. I hope that you loved this conversation as much as I did. And if you really, got something out of it, I hope that you will share it with somebody that needs more connection in their life, needs more permission to show up messy and to shine really brightly. And also, will you please subscribe so that you get notifications, and then you can just get a ding every time more goodness is dropped into the show. Don't forget that we have a mini-sode coming up on Friday, and that we have the 100th episode of Seeking Sunshine coming out on Christmas Day, which, again, I fully expect you to just totally stay present in your life on Christmas Day and to listen whenever you have the opportunity later on. So that episode will be waiting for you. It's going to be so good. So good. All the best of the best of the best of Seeking Sunshine. I'm working really hard to pull together something so amazing. I'm really excited for it. But anyway, here are my very favorite takeaways from this episode with Alison. Number 1, we've got to own who we are and love ourselves for it and stop caring so much what other people think. Number 2, we're not static. We get to grow. It's such a gift that we get to continue to improve and shift and transform and become a new, better version of ourselves constantly. Number 3, we get to look back on our year and look how far we've come, and then we get to look ahead and ask, how much further do I get to go? It's easy to look at our goals and say, I'm not where I want to be, but instead, we could look at them with excitement. There's a whole new version of me just waiting to blossom. Number 4, I see it as a privilege to change and to grow. Number 5, you can live your dreams. You can do incredible things with your life. Anything is possible, and it doesn't matter how tough your circumstances are, anything is possible. Number 6, we can do hard things. We can persevere, we can figure it out. We can keep going even when challenges come our way, because we are strong and we are powerful. And number 7, you are valuable because you are unique. Oh my goodness, so much amazingness from this episode. I love it when 2 amazing superstar powerful women come together. That's what lights me up about podcasting, the connections. Speaking of connecting and podcasting, go check out the last episode that aired of Podcast Like a Mother, because it was all about how podcasts are like the new social media and how we get so much out of connecting to people through podcasts. It's a really good episode. You can find the link to Podcast Like a Mother, the podcast, below in the show notes. Let's see. Make sure that you follow Alison's podcasts, which are Women Who Podcast and Scottish at Heart, on your favorite podcast platform. You can also go check out her website, which is www.alisonfraser.co, and go check out her Instagram, which she recommends the @WomenWhoPodcast account, although she does have two. I also have the link in the show notes for Magic Mind, along with a discount code. So be sure to go check out the discount code, which is Seekings20. Go check that out. I also included the link for the Easy Podcasting Basics cheat sheet, which is really awesome if you are thinking about starting your own podcast. And let me just tell you, if you think that podcasting is overwhelming and unattainable, you are wrong. I am sitting here as a mom with 3 kids with special needs, and podcasting is my favorite thing in the whole world. And now I have 2 podcasts with 3 shows a week, and it's my favorite. And I want to show you how easily you can do this and how much fun it gets to be, and how it's totally accessible to everybody. Okay? You don't need to go buy a bunch of stuff. You don't have to have a bunch of fancy equipment. You can do it all with your phone. So that's a thing. Lastly, if you really liked the quotes that I just read, all of the takeaways, I send those out in the Snippet of Sunshine Daily Quote. You can also sign up and get that in your inbox every single day. And they're really cute, guys. They're very, very cute. I really like them. And then my website is KaraleigHgarrison.com if you want to learn more about me speaking and all my music, which I share at the end of the episode. So there's links to my Seeking Sunshine album and my Christmas album, which is called Wonder, and all the things are on the website. I don't stick all of the links in the show notes. All the links are really in the website. So just so you know, that's pretty much where everything resides, is in the website. And then of course you can go check out my Instagram, which is Karaleigh.Garrison, and you can go DM me and we can chat and have a good time. That's all the things for today. I hope you have such an awesome Christmas, and I'm going to leave you with a song. Love you guys. So young, so innocent, the virgin that gave birth. Did she know that heaven sent the angel just for her? He told her things that would change her life. She got a peek of happiness and strife, a glimpse of all the joy, a moment with the ache. How does it feel to know the end? And does it bring relief for pain? To know the joys and also the suffering. To look into your sweet one's eyes and picture all those future tears. Would you hold him close and wish for this moment to last? This is what I'd want to know if I could talk to Mary. Lying in a manger bed, the animals surround. The noise, the smell, the flies, the mess. Is this really what was planned? How can this be the birth of a king, born made such suffering the Savior of all brings life to this poor stone. How does it feel to know the end? And does it bring relief for pain? To know the joys and also the suffering. To look into your sweet one's eyes and picture all those future tears. Would you hold them close and wish for this moment to last? This is what I'd want to know if I could talk to Mary. Oh, Mary, could you see the light without the dark? Or did the pain make your joy more full? How does it feel to know the end? And does it bring relief for pain? To know the joys and also the suffering. To look into your sweet one's eyes and picture all those future tears. Would you hold him close and wish for this moment to last? This is what I'd want to know if I could talk to